Hello folks, welcome again to another episode of It's All About Racing. In this episode, we're going to take a look at two Porsche 911 RSRs, the number 911 and the number 912 cars that competed in the IMSA WeatherTech series in 2020. I have done individual reviews of both of these cars, but I felt that you really need to see them side by side to discover the subtleties of the unique livery that these two cars have. And they ran these cars, for basically for 2 years, in 2019 and 2020, both in the IMSA WeatherTech series as well as the World Endurance Championship. So if you see a number 911 for sale, a number 912, they're the IMSA WeatherTech cars. And if you see the identical looking cars with number 91 and 92, those are the cars that compete in the World Endurance Championship. But for all intents and purposes, these cars are exactly the same. They are sealed resin models. They actually have no moving parts. But as I mentioned in both of my other videos, they are extremely detailed. I mean, they're phenomenal. And they're on a really good and attractive wooden bases. These are limited edition models too. Another perk to buying them if you can get your hands on them. They are limited edition. One in 600 batches, the other one in 800. I believe the 911 was in a batch of 800, the 912 that of 600. But to try to understand the subtlety and the difference between these cars, it's important to look at the front of them. And as you can see here, it's hard to say what the base color is of either car, whether it's white or gray. I guess if you take a look at the nose and you go from back on, let's just say for purposes that the 912 car's base color is gray and that of the 911 white. The accents that it has on the 912 car are white, as you can see here, and gray on the 911 car, with the exception of this area here in the where the number panel is, where it varies between white and gray on both cars. Very confusing. And I'll bring this up to give you a closer look at it, but you can see that subtle difference there in between the air vents where the number panel is. You can see that one's gray and one is white. Now that color scheme, whether it's white or gray, runs down the entire length of the car, from the nose all the way to the rear fender lip, so to speak. The color of the top of the car, or the cabin, is gray on the 912 car and white on the 911. That's why I consider this car to be white and the other one to be gray, respectively. But that's kind of how they look like. And if you take a look at how this flows, focus your attention on the nose and then look to the sides and then look back, and you'll see the differences there. Now, there are also two other differences that are as of note, and these are not uncommon at all with these Porsche cars. That is the 912 car with having a black banner and a black rear ring, or the 911 car has a white banner and a white rear wing. That has nothing to do with this color scheme. That is the way they differentiate the two cars when they race all the time, year after year after year after year. So, that's nothing new. But this color scheme is, and it is subtle, and it is different. And if we take a look, we'll just look at the 912 car first. You can see we go with the gray at the nose, and the gray one's all the way down here, literally over the lip of the rear fender, and then it's white from there on out. However, here and here and on the top of the car, it is all gray, including the, or in this car, I'm sorry, it is, it's gray. God, I'm having a hard time. It's so hard to tell. Yeah, it's gray here and on the trunk lid. It's so hard to tell because the difference in tones of the colors is very, very subtle. And I'll bet you if I didn't point it out to you, you'd probably be as confused as I am looking at it. But that is what the 912 car likes. Now, if we take a look at the 911, it is just the opposite. You have the white nose with white going all the way down, to the lip of the fender, but it's distinctively gray everywhere else. The top of the car is white, and the rear deck lid is white as well, but it is gray elsewhere otherwise. The backs of the cars are identical, folks. The white theme continues all the way to the back. Now, granted, the 912 car has the gray deck lid. The 911 is white, but the rear of the car of both cars is white. It all ends up in white. Now, I did mention that these were limited edition cars. Notice that the 911 car was number 223 out of 800, and the number 912 car is 579 out of 600. So the 912 car is actually rarer than the 911 car if you consider it that way. But they are distinctively different cars. If you see them for sale on eBay and you've debated buying one, and I think you might be able to get these in IX from IXO as well. I'm not sure on that, but you might be able to. I always prefer to buy Spark over IXO, even if it costs more, and it always does, just because the details are so good. And if you watch the individual reviews that I've done of these two cars, they are phenomenal. I consider these two to be the most highly detailed of all the cars I've got. And it might be because of, the fact that these, well, this is a 2020 model, so it's not like it's that new. In fact, Spark is releasing all new models that are competing in Le Mans in just a few weeks, and this being in April of 2023, because, they start Le Mans in June. So they're going to have all those cars out. They're on for pre-order. Track's marketing out of the United Kingdom, I believe. You can pre-order any car that you want. They don't have pictures of it, but you know what they look like because they've been racing. They raced twice this year already. They raced in Sebring and in Spa. But anyhow, that is a look at these two cars, Porsche 911 RSRs, that unique white and gray color combination. Thanks for watching. See you next time.